We're going to start today with a drill from Madhavan. So enjoy.
अभी 1 सेकंड में एकदम तेज से न्यारी पावरफुल आत्मक रूप में स्थित हो सकते हो. फुल स्टॉप. यही अभ्यास हर समय बीच बीच में करना चाहिए. अभी अभी कार्य में आए, अभी अभी कार्य से स्थिति में स्थित हो जाए।
You. Baba actually was reminding of the homework. Don't know if you remember the invitation yesterday, creating the practice of 20 times in 24 hours for 2 minutes. If some of us might have forgotten, but it's actually fun to maybe challenge for the next 24 hours, whatever it takes. Reminders on the phone, but nice to practice. Yesterday, this aspect that the mind is a wonderful thing, and you can feel in Baba's drill, we're as if through recording, through Zoom, but catching that experience. So what potential the mind has, and the analogy that thoughts are coming onto as if a mind stage, like actors. The question is, who is using the mind? And this aspect of protecting the mind from Ravan and Maya. The question came, how can we safeguard against Ravan and Maya in our meditation? It feels such a good reminder again, the independence from the story of this invisible actor, completely separate. Otherwise, this mixture is an ego-based, potentially ego-based effort. Prashant was mentioning how Baba says it's the vehicle of the intellect, the vehicle. The mind is like the vehicle. So father and the home are one thought away. And serving through the mind can be with confidence. And we need just clarity, conviction, and concentration. So, welcome everyone again. And hope the translation is fine. I see some confirmation in the chat. So, welcome to Prashant. Om Shanti.
Thank you. And hello and good evening from here. In the message we heard from Baba, had a huge emphasis on being incorporeal, soul conscious. In Hindi, there are terms, Atma Darshan, you are seeing the soul. Atma Chintan, you are thinking about the soul. Atma Varnan, you are talking about the soul. These are all seen as great things in bhakti, different things in bhakti. But that is not our effort. Because this Atma Chintan and Atma Darshan, it is safely done by ego. Ego has no problem in seeing the soul, and ego has no problem in singing Mera Baba. But our effort is the soul using the mind. Not ego using the mind, but the soul is in charge of the mind. Then it is a success. To know the difference. So, Brahmins may be making effort, creating time for bhakti, yoga, and to understand this small step where the invisible, incorporeal soul, he becomes conscious and he is using the mind. That is a huge thing. And this shift, a shift is almost from demon to the angel. Ego is essentially what we call Ravan, Ravan's different forms. All that we are using this symbolically 10 heads, but all the heads of Ravan are trapped in that box, in that anthill in different ways. So it can only think of the anthill. All the 10 heads. One head is caught with some food, another head with some people, another head caught with position, with different things. So it will think about events and people and situations. But if an angel gets a chance to use the mind, has access to the mind, it nourishes the angel. Mind is like the ultimate ultimate thing for angel. It is a bit like if there is a driver and if there is no car, then he's not a driver either. So there is an angel here, but the angel need the access to the mind. If he cannot use the mind, then he is not an angel either. Same thing applies to the 10 heads of the demon. If they have access to the mind, then there is demon, demonic. It will get bigger also. But if you stop the access to the mind, then demon shrinks. So when Baba says our mantra is Man Manabhav, Man is mind. In Copper Age, Iron Age, our mantra was Man Ravan Bhava. Full time, mind is offered to Ravan. 10 heads of Ravan are using the mind. So let us create a few minutes of attention. We saw that our steps, our procedure, we definitely need the best intellect. We said that favors the soul. With this best intellect, we can see the irrelevance of the entire physical world. When we use the word story or anthill, in essence, we are saying it is small and irrelevant. Ego within us will resist this, but that is necessary. The whole thing is small. Baba said in what we heard, full stop in 1 second. Full stop is possible only if we make it small. If something appears very, very important, we can't put a full stop. So with this 100% paras, we are understanding the whole physical world. Past and present, whole thing is small. And we can see the big reality, alokik reality beyond the story. It's an anthill, but it is an ant story. It is not even a proper anthill. We are seeing the dimension beyond. It is so vivid, this expanse of light. At this time, we just immerse ourselves in this expanse of light with concentration. As was said, it is a thought away from us. We are seeing this, but with the awareness that this is important. This is not just a meditation experience. This is the home. This is the real world. And the next step is we engage with this world. Engage implies we are there. When anyone is engaged in this way, then the mind is focused. Just one thought. You are in the experience of that light, experience of that expanse. Thank you. This practice of just experiencing the home with some focus, that favors the soul. This alokik dimension, all they complement. So this is also a necessary practice for us to see the home. We know of the home, just like there is knowledge, just like we know about the soul, Atmagyan, Atmagyani, so that is a big thing in bhakti. In the same way, we are Brahmagyani. We know about the supreme home. But the next step is to experience with the focus. Underline this word, engage. You are saying it, but engage. Just to give an example, engage. Say you come into a room, there are some people there. Your overall mind is not particularly focused anywhere. But someone wants to speak to you, then you will find you are engaged to listen to him, to speak to him. You find yourselves engaged. And that time, you might not notice what else is happening in that. Focus is not there. Same here also in our meditation, every aspect. there is first step, you are directing your mind there. But next step, engage. And then there is, you are there. You are in that experience. To experience is more important. It may need eyes open, eyes closed, silent room, whatever. We need to give it a priority to go into the experience. Even a few minutes. This is like the mind used by angel. It favors the angel. Yesterday we heard one quote, Eleanor Roosevelt, and small minds think of people, and the great minds think of ideas. That's what she said. We will say, what will we will say? We will not just say it that way. Small minds are caught in the anthill, whether it is ants or whether it is events, whether it is ideas also, about the ants. You are caught at that level. Great minds experience the sky and help others come in the sky. This is like a huge shift. This is what Baba's program is. To replace this 10 heads of demon. Demon is caught in the anthill helplessly, day in and day out, fully caught. That is all. It may lead to other problems, but first is just the madness of the demon. Then it becomes sad and bad, but first is mad. Let us come back to the practice, experience. We understand the huge shift with the paras. We see everything that is physical is part of the story. What we are seeing, what happened today, it all happened in that story. Even the gathering now, this Prashant talking, this is happening in the story. But Paras helps us to come beyond. And beyond is the true family. They are all like stars. They are all immortal. And we use the word they are noble. All are noble. They need nothing from anywhere. If there is no beggar, if there is no victim, then they are noble. So all of this, the whole lot, they are immortal and beyond harm. Story cannot harm anyone. And they need nothing from anywhere for their existence. So all are lovely. If they don't even need anything, they are less likely to have vices, greed and anger. The whole thing disappears. They are auspicious. Divine. What remains is the life of joy and love. Such is this family. This is the word of the Father, one who is always Paras, true friend of everyone, because he is in a position to help everyone become conscious. Friend of the angel. He is the friend of the soul. He is not a friend of ego. But one who is always Paras, he stays in that perspective, naturally free from the story, naturally soul vision, soul attitude, life of silent joy and love forever. Nothing in the story matters. Story, many things come, go, disappear. That is, he's the one who remains 100% free from the story. Because he is Parasnath. Zero demon. If anyone is affected by the story, even the slightest, it is just because there is some demon remaining. He is free from Ravan. Ram is the one who remains always free. So this invisible prince is helped by this atmosphere. This alokik environment helps the true self. He becomes conscious. And this is the big milestone for us. Invisible prince. He understands his form like a tiny point, like everyone else. It is normal for him to be immortal. Normal not to need anything from anywhere. Normal to understand his complete independence from the story. And that includes this present scene that is also part of that story. Invisible prince, he knows everyone is lovely. They all are stars. They all are divine beings. If there is no demon, then we can use the word divine. Nothing inauspicious in them. They can afford to be 100% innocent because they are absolutely beyond harm. That's why childlike and godlike, all of them. Invisible prince is just seeing this reality. And as he's seeing this, he is contributing to the true benevolence, because he's creating light. Mind is not just for himself. We understand the value of mind. If angel is using the mind, he helps others. Angel is one who is just like the father. His life is for others, but access to the mind is necessary. If access to the mind is blocked, then there is no angelic results. So for the rest of the evening, we have the option to stay in this invisible prince perspective. Invisible prince is the one who is seeing others, is the one who knows his worthiness to belong to God, worthiness to be loved by God. He knows his worthiness because he is free from demon. He is 100% free from vices and ego and even desires and sorrows. So he knows his innate worthiness to be loved by God, to belong to God. Invisible prince. His life, we are just seeing his perspective, and he is using the mind. He is seeing others. That's why we said Baba's expression, do avyakt service through the avyakt stage. Only the invisible prince, he's in the avyakt stage. Our big success is not to mix. This paras helps us not to mix, but ego wants us to mix things. And then the power will become less. It becomes ego-based service, not avyakt service through the avyakt stage, but ego-based. That is common. Like anyone can say, I am sending light to souls. I am sending love to everyone. But if it is coming from the ego, power is less. But if one step is taken, to step back, let the invisible prince become conscious. You want to add anything? Say anything? Even as we are talking and interacting, let there be this attention throughout this hour.
Thinking of the image of the rituals in the temples. They're constantly cleaning them, and this practice of always coming back to that clear and clean perspective, as if we need to keep brushing it and dusting it. Question: how can one recognize the ego versus soul, the subtle aspects, because it's easy to identify the gross?
Sure. Any time the focus is around the role, then the ego is very much involved, subtle or gross. We sometimes use this language in our practice. There are 3 steps. The first step, and in the spiritual life, first step, Harry has come, he's studying knowledge, and Harry has become a student. Student Harry, spiritual student. Second step, student Harry is seeing the soul. And as was said, Atma Darshan is trying to see the soul, focus on the soul. Step 3, what is the step 3? Step 3 is soul is seeing Harry. So step 2 is student Harry is seeing the soul. And step 3 is soul has become conscious. Invisible prince has become conscious. And he's understanding Harry as part of the story. And he understands his independence from Harry. Step 2 is an ego-based step. These are necessary steps. We can't suddenly become free from ego. So step 1, there is ego. Step 2, there is ego. It is ego-based effort. That's why Harry is very important for him. He wants to glorify Harry. He wants to make Harry spiritual. He wants to defend Harry. This ego agenda is that. Maybe he wants to see Harry as spiritual, as you said, subtle, something. But it is all around Harry. Harry is having good yoga. Harry is very good in knowledge. Harry has got good virtues. But focus is on Harry when it is ego-based. He's seeing the soul, but the glorification of Harry is going on. In step 3, he has woken up, and the paradox is that the soul that is awake is most virtuous and most he got everything. He got all treasures. He's happy and he's being of love and he's got God and he got the whole thing. In step 2, he's desperately trying to beg and collect things to promote Harry. That is step 2. It can only happen in darkness. In full light, you are realizing there is no need because he is immortal to start with. He is very lucky. He got everything. He got God and he got great family. Immensely lucky. The best and the highest he has got. And happy to see Harry in the story. Harry goes up, Harry goes down, Harry is defamed, Harry pushed. He's so free from what is happening in the story. Ego is not there. But self-respect is based on the invisible prince. So the question, how to know if there is ego? Ego will be very much directed, projected on the role.
very helpful, and was just reflecting that step 2 stands out when there's some experiences of step 3, but otherwise all you see is the contrast of step 1 and step 2, like becoming the spiritual student. That it appears big, which it is, but you really see step 2 clearly when there's experience of step 3, and that's essential to sharpen the intellect, that vibration of zero begging and zero victim. Then everything makes sense. It's like clicks into place. When you were giving the commentary, the second step was engage. What was the first?
Do you mind to repeat?
Was there a sequence when you were sharing about the word engage, emphasizing, so first something and then engage?
Yeah, sure. First, you are just seeing, say it can be the home. You are just directing your mind, it is seeing the home. You know the details, it is eternal, it is our home, it is important. You are just seeing it. Mind is directed towards that region of light. And then step 2, engage, means you are now there. That is, want to come to one Murli that we all heard. It was read on 18th January, Avyakt Murli passage. Or some of you might remember this. I feel that this is the essence of our Brahmin life. And, that's why worth coming back to that short passage. Baba is talking about the stage of silence and the stage beyond sound. But it is many people might go to a silence retreat or something like this, beyond sound, stay quiet. But it needs decoding. What Baba says, it needs to understand the true, one who is in the stage beyond sound is the invisible prince. Invisible prince, he knows his complete freedom from the anthill. That is full of sound. And so the invisible prince he's experiencing stage beyond sound, stage of silence. Baba also described this stage as a stage of supersensuous happiness. Invisible prince experiences that. Baba described this as a world benefactor stage. We saw how in that your attitude, your vision, you are creating light there. Baba described this as a golden age stage. So these are big words. Baba also described this as a close to karmatit stage. We'll listen to that passage, but just something to notice. So Baba is saying this is the stage beyond sound, but it is a stage of supersensuous happiness. It's a stage of world benevolence. It's a stage that is golden age stage. It's a stage close to karmatit stage. And Baba also said it's the most powerful stage. These are big words. So worth reading it again, studying it. And as we said, it has to be decoded. That is not just silence and it becomes a world benefactor. The ego has to be bypassed. Then you are into those experiences. So we will listen to that passage, and if Sarah is happy with it, Sarah can read that passage.
These are the Abhyakt elevated versions, 1977. Are all of you able to experience the stage of remaining stable in your form of being beyond sound for a long period of time? Are you able to remain stable in the experience of coming into sound for a longer period? Or are you able to experience the stage of being beyond sound for a longer period? The closer you come to your final stage, which is the Karmatit stage, the more love you will have for remaining stable in the stage of silence, of being beyond sound. While stable in this stage, you are constantly able to experience supersensuous joy. With this stage of supersensuous joy, you will easily be able to invoke other souls. This powerful stage is called the world benefactor stage. Just as nowadays with science, you are able to experience things being very close. A distant sound is heard to be very close by way of a telephone. A scene somewhere far away is very clearly visible on a TV. In the same way, no matter how far away souls are you able to make the message reach souls through silence? Let them experience it as though someone has physically given them a message in a corporeal form. While sitting at a distance, they will experience a vision of you elevated souls and see the divine activities of God as though it is all happening right in front of them. You would be visible through thoughts. That is, you would be playing the part of attaining success. This word is siddhi, so magical success through thoughts. That is, of being beyond sound. However, the way to attain this magical success is to stabilize yourself for the maximum time in your form of silence. That is why it is said silence is golden. This is said to be the golden aged stage. By remaining stable in this stage, you'll be able to bring about greater glorification through less expenditure. You'll be able to have greater results through less expenditure of your treasure of time, energy, and physical resources. For this, simply remember one word. What is that one word? Balance. Let there be a balance in your every deed, thought, and word, in your relationships and connections. Then, rather than ordinary, your words, deeds, thoughts, relationships, and connections will be seen as alokik. That is, they will seem to be a miracle. From everyone's lips and mind, the sound will emerge that this is a miracle. According to the time, the speed of your efforts and the speed of world service have to be very fast. Only then will you be called a world benefactor. Most of the souls of the world are invoking the revelation of you specially loved souls and the Father. However, the specially loved souls are not invoking those souls as much. What is the reason for this? You are taking too much time for your own limited household of your nature and sanskars. Just as souls without knowledge do not have time to listen to knowledge, in the same way, many Brahmins do not have the time to remain stable in this powerful stage. This is why there is a need for you to become volcanic. Seeing everyone's household Bapdada smiles, because everyone has become too busy. You are very busy, are you not? In your original stage, you will be constantly free. You would attain magical success and also be free. Shanti.
Yeah, it is nice to see how Baba is drawing attention, the mind as its application for service. But the stage Baba talks about, that world benefactor stage, powerful stage. Just underline this word, invisible prince. It is not an expression, prince. As was said, ego can also make the chant of Mera Baba, and in the same way he can start saying invisible prince, invisible prince. But understand the secret. Follow the program where the anthill is seen as an anthill. That is what shrinks the ego. Use the best intellect, that helps you. And then your dimension, your world is alokik. Everything is alokik, including your family, your form, and your treasures. Everything is beyond the anthill. And as was said, instantly you are discovering the biggest prize, biggest lottery that anyone can ever win. And this is what is true of everyone. They all are lucky, very, very lucky. They are immortal and they're beings of bliss and love, and they don't need to be beggars, or they are never victims. That is why you want to serve. You know that little effort, and they can discover this Prince, eternal Prince. When you are telling them your soul, you are really meaning they all are eternal princes and they are very lucky and they got biggest treasures, and we are talking about virtues, everything. They are from the family of God. There can't be a bigger prize than this. You know this. You are seeing it. As you are seeing it, you are creating light. So when Baba said, through your thoughts, they will get message, they will get visions. It is good to experiment with this for us. As we play with it, it will only get more refined. And it is fun to experiment with magic. Baba used the word miraculous and magical success. It is good for us to experiment with that. So let us hear some thoughts from you.
One question here. In sweet silence, in the world benefactor stage, is it the mind is used by God at that time?
The mind is only used by the self. God is not using, not normally, but the soul that is conscious using the mind, and soul that is conscious is angelic, is like the Father. We do not need to say God using, but the soul is using.
Does the Paris intellect in full light ever get pulled by the ego? Question.
If a Paris is 100%, that stops the ego. But it is possible, our attention. We often say we got different muscles, but muscles are not used for a long time. They remain weak. In the same way, Paras is there. Everyone has got Paras, but it is not used for a long time. It is weak. So you may be able to use it for 1 minute, and then you might find it is not there. So Pattar takes over. And Pattar favors the ego. Paras, by definition, favors the soul, favors the angel.
I found it very helpful to focus on this extract in this atmosphere to get the feeling of, like when Baba says balance, to really understand it is the clean soul coming with the abhyakt and the alokik. So sometimes words do need decoding. One question, is it common a soul switches back and forth between any of the two stages? So when you were talking about the three stages, how to avoid this if it is so?
More we use the light, more we use the Paras, as we said, it favors the soul. All that Baba has to do, Baba is bringing knowledge. That is guaranteed to change the dynamics. But for us also, we have to come to that essence of knowledge and create an environment of full clarity that favors the soul. revision, reminders, and to know also, as was said, paras has to be made stronger. So you use paras 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, it is becoming stronger. All of that will make it easier. At this stage, even to see the contrast, here we saw, Harry seeing the soul. That is not the destination. Some might think that is meditation, and that is going on year after year, Harry seeing the soul. And that is step 2. That is a step 3. And in this, as long as we know that there is this next step where the soul need to become conscious, and soul that is conscious, he naturally understands the wonder of his world. He knows he belongs here. This is the world of God, but most important, auspicious. He has no reason for slightest disappointment, slightest comparison, competition, anxiety, zero. All of this. That's why we say joy coming from that awareness. Nothing can ever go wrong for him. In the story, it is going to finish also. There will be destruction and death. But invisible prince knows he is lucky. And nothing can ever go wrong for him.
The jump, isn't it? It feels like Baba talked about it today, when we become happy with points of knowledge in the locker of the intellect. So there is happiness, but it's happy with the knowledge, understanding, accumulation of ideas. And another thing is happy with just a little. I think having a high aim is the way also to come out of the step 2. Shall I ask one more question?
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting one. What would be the proof that there is the soul, the existence of the soul, rather than it just being a way to offer relief to what otherwise might be perceived as a meaningless existence?
Sure. One is the proof, and we have gone into some details about this. But at a very practical level, we are emphasizing the perspective. That is what we are emphasizing here. Here is the world, say this physical world. We have the proof that this physical world exists. And everyone is seeing this world from the perspective from inside that box. Perspective is from inside the anthill. That is what we call ego. So you are seeing everything. The idea of I itself is in the anthill, and that's why there is a innate fear, because everything of yours can end, and you yourselves can end. So this is what the life of the ordinary life is. All that we are offering here is a shift of perspective. Leave aside the language of the soul even. Just shift of perspective. perspective from beyond. That is all. Perspective from outside of the anthill. And the moment you come to that perspective, then you are not having this perspective of fear and loss and victim. That is removed. And this is all that matters. More you are having this perspective from beyond, you are still in the world, you are still going through that, but you are not spending your mind in some kind of panic or mind of a beggar or mind of a victim. But proof of the soul, we have discussed it in other Sanjeevani sessions.
Yeah, thank you. So no other questions right now.
Nice. And Sarah, want to add anything yourself?
Well, there was a discussion which was connected earlier, and this sensation of the viceless mind, the mind which is used by this angel, and that it is like it is needing momentum and also time, so that Avyakt passage really spoke to me when we were reading it. And this experience of the mind without any past traumas, nothing inauspicious. It's so it's so different from every ordinary human experience. It's like a different department that we would never have dreamt of. I certainly wouldn't, that scale. So we need time to be familiar with it. So I appreciate the objective language. It's like you're having yoga with that angelic being, with this viceless mind, with that personality. It's really helping to sharpen the intellect, because that contrast we need to keep feeding the intellect, so we're not mixing it with the step 2. I did sort of have a question. The 4 subjects of Raj Yoga, the Jnana Yoga, the Dana, the Seva. Could we see that they're all subtle? At one level, we could see them all in a subtle way. And would Dana be like the atmosphere in the mind that is created by whoever is using the mind?
Yeah, absolutely. When the invisible prince is conscious, this moment, let us experiment with this. Invisible prince is conscious, and his perspective is radical. He understands this whole physical world story, and he doesn't need to think more about it. He is not, caught into details and details. So what happens the moment invisible prince is conscious? He is the embodiment of knowledge. Every aspect of knowledge, he is seeing it from there. He is living it. It is not Harry who can be the embodiment of knowledge, but the invisible prince who becomes embodiment. Only invisible prince can be incorporeal. It is natural for him to be incorporeal. He knows others' soul vision. It is natural. That is his family. Unlimited renunciation. He has no interest in the story to get trapped in it. That is not there. He knows his life with God and being loved by God. So he naturally becomes yogi in a accurate way. He is soul conscious, and he knows God. He knows life with God. He is yogi. And if someone is free from desires and sorrow and vices, and ego, what remains is a life of full dharana. He loves everyone. His life is of joy. Anytime, anything we do not like in others, its root is ego. Anything we do not like in ourselves, we do not like in others, 100% of the time, its origin is ego. Even the slightest thing I do not like. So invisible prince, he is not operating from ego. That's why dharana, that word, it will be, he is image of dharana. As you mentioned, at a subtle level, at an accurate level. Not necessarily drama. Drama is another thing. But here we are seeing what is happening in the mind. And as we are seeing also, avyakt service, true service. And our true service is helping others become conscious. They are very, very lucky. And we want them to see who they are, what they have got, where they belong. But who can do this service? Only the one who is conscious himself. If he is not conscious, then Baba's words, he can do limited service. Means, the things still, we are all doing service in some form, but unlimited service, in a true service, that the invisible prince, he is involved in that. He's conscious. From his heart, he knows the greatness of others, and their truth. So that's why it creates light. Excellent.
Thank you. It's nice to come to the subtlety, because ego also likes to work at dana level, but it's a little calculated thing about the volume of the words and the speed of the speech, but its root is not very clear. Yeah. Okay, so there's one question that's just come. Maybe we have that and then have a break. When we're in the third stage, soul conscious, is the soul conscious Harry not expected to use his mind to go through the cycle of up and down emotions based on the events happening in the ant world? Is it not natural, even in the third stage, to have a mix of laughter and tears, as long as they are not consistent and drawing the person in? Does the question make sense?
Yeah, sure. Our third stage, is a stage of full clarity. Just like if you are watching Laurel and Hardy, how often do you get tears when you are watching Laurel and Hardy. You are amused by the whole thing. All chaos is going on, but you are amused because you are in full clarity. You understand what is going on. And you also know everyone is safe. It was just a joke. Third stage is like that. Third stage is you are fully conscious. And what we say, anthill story, it is really the story. It is really the joke. That is the way he sees and understands. It is radical. Ego perspective is so bizarre. It is gone into Laurel and Hardy lives in it. So he will have tears and joy. But when the soul is conscious, he is zero sorrow. Leave aside tears, but not even the slightest anxiety or slightest disappointment, or not the slightest, nothing inauspicious. So inside out, he experiences joy and the wonder. And you want to add anything?
Yeah,
For us, it is good when we are coming to this. Go for 100%. Then we come into the experience. It may be for 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, but go for 100%. If it is mixed, then as we said, it appears you are having yoga, it is third stage, but ego is also, mixed. But even for a short time, go for full, Paras perspective.
yeah. The after comment by the same person, I feel it may be disrespectful to treat the ant world as a joke.
Yeah, it is radical, and but it is good for us to try that. Just like Laurel and Hardy is a joke. In the same way, here, it's story. Story means a joke. No one is born there, no one dies there. And in full light, we understand it like that. That everyone is safe and everyone is good. We are seeing it. Other story just for 1 hour, half an hour. This story is longer, that's all. But it is a story. Really a story. That's what the important part. It is not just we use the word story, but it's really the story.
Yeah, yes. Okay, thanks was the message. Maybe just because it's same subject, even in the third stage, we still have to settle karma.
Sure. Third stage is a method to settle karma. At the moment, we are students, and it is a confluence age. But in the third stage, you are truly settling karma. Settling karma through yoga. It is not settling karma through suffering. That is a separate department. But you are settling through yoga.
Remember once you told a joke, someone said, I met somebody and it felt like we had karma, so we got married to settle it. That kind of shows that we can have misunderstanding of settling karma. With the soul conscious soul, it is settling through the shift of posture, like the right posture finishes the wrong posture. Hope I didn't confuse them.
No, that's good.
So we have more questions, but we've made a note and we'll come back. Would you like to pose a question for the rooms?
Yes. Understanding, come back to that Murli that we read, and at the stage of world benefactor stage, how the mind can be used for world benefit. And that, just to explore that, what is the way we can use this time for service and mind for service. World benefactor.
Very nice. So invitation to join room, and we mentioned yesterday it's possible to change rooms, so that's open to everyone. Do enjoy, and we'll see you back just over 10 minutes. Om Shanti. Warm welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a chance to share if you wanted to share in that time, but if you didn't but got inspired, it would be lovely to hear your reflections in the chat. So I would like to invite you to just share this 1 minute together to explore that depth of the third stage. Thank you. Very helpful when there's a gathering. Robert does talk about the power of the gathering, but also we are bringing that into our atmosphere wherever we are. So that's very profound. So handing back to Prashant, and there are some questions also.
Sure. We'll start with the questions.
Just based on what was mentioned before we had the break, someone's typed, a dear one in the family passed away prematurely, like an untimely death. It's a little hard to consider it as a joke, even in the third stage. Can we have a spiritual definition of the word joke to help with this?
Yeah, sure. In the third stage, one is so aware that no one dies. Very aware, is immersed. It is not just a nice concept of soul, but for him, it is very immersed that everyone is noble, everyone is immortal, everyone is safe, and that is immersed. That is why that there is no thought of losing anyone or anyone is coming to harm. He knows that everyone is lucky. He doesn't say they're lucky because drama things are going well. No, he knows everyone is lucky forever. That attitude is useful because that is what will help others to come out of their body consciousness. Then there is benefit. Our so-called sentimentality, mercy, at a lower level, that holds them also in the body consciousness. That keeps them in the lower consciousness. Third stage means the shift. Step 2 is a mixed stage, but step 3 is shift, complete shift.
Thank you. I just want to check. Okay, yeah. I was just seeing 2 dots before. Yeah, thank you. Question: what should one do when on this journey we understand, but there is no experience yet?
Yeah, sure. Some of the things we underlined yesterday is how to come into the experience. And we said that only the interference of ego blocks the experience. It is not that we have created big ego of some, but just identification, but dangling in the story, and that prevents the spiritual experience. But we discussed it in some detail yesterday, and definitely worth coming back to it and following the program, as we mentioned, maybe for 1 minute, 2 minutes, but to go for 100%.
Thank you. Yeah, that might answer the question from the same one, how to go 100%. So this was, you're saying, addressed yesterday also. Anything you want to add to that? Okay. Going 100%.
Once you have the decision to go for 100%, then it becomes easy. Just that Maya within us says, just try 90%. It is a bit like that, but we have the option to go for 100%.
It's interesting, isn't it, how Maya works to make that seem difficult. So we have the option itself is quite magical. With the topic about karma, is settling the karma in the 3rd stage? Oh, sorry, is it that we settle the karma in the 3rd stage? Or is it like a 4th stage within the 3rd stage, the settling karma part of it?
Yeah, settling karma, the essence of settling karma is you are becoming free from Ravan. That is settling the karma. When all trace of Ravan is removed, it means you have settled the karma. And how do you remove Ravan? Only when the mind is manmanabhav. Mind is used by the angel, then it stops a Ravan from using the mind. So in step 3, the angel is conscious. That's why it is the time when you truly are removing Ravan. When step 2 is there, Ravan himself is using the mind. We said step 2 is ego-based effort. And so that doesn't remove the Ravan, that doesn't settle the sin.
Yeah, thank you. It's like a new area to reflect on. Why is the gift of the drama so immersed in Ravan and ego? Question.
In darkness, when there is darkness, and such is the nature, just like one kind of season favors daffodils, another season favors weeds, something similar. You create an environment of full wisdom, clarity, that favors the soul, that favors the angel. You create an environment of darkness that favors Ravan and ego. So such is the destiny in the scheme of things. There is a time of darkness. Does that help?
That'll be good to hear. I think this is where the invitation in the Murli Baba gives to spin the cycle, because then you see objectively the day and the night, and it helps you to, it's like to qualify for the day, you need to work towards the day. It helps you come out of the night. And response was yes, thank you. One more question. Firstly, a comment that different traditions have taught that one of the objectives of meditation is to silence the mind. So the teaching that the mind can be used by the angel is very interesting. So could we consider the mind as a tool that can be used by or employed by either the ego or the angel, although usually for quite different purpose?
Yes, we said mind is so precious. It is a most wonderful faculty. And angel and the demon both are competing to use it. And our aim is to be friend of angel, to create opportunities so that the angel uses the mind. Within that, there is benefit for the self, for others. If Ravan, 10 heads of Ravan, if they use the mind, Ravan becomes stronger. Such is the situation. More you are using the angel is using the mind, there is benevolence for others.
It's understood in the culture, isn't it, that idle mind is a devil's workshop in an ordinary understanding. So this is like active process to bring the angel to use. Otherwise, our default is Ravan, the inverted commas devil. Nice comment here that it gets translated in English, conquer of the mind, but I guess it gets retranslated as win over the mind. So in the Murli it says, if you win over the mind, you win over the world. And when the mind...
Baba doesn't say that. That statement is bhakti.
Okay.
Baba says you win over Maya.
Mm.
In other words, you win over Ravan. 10 heads of Ravan. They are stopped. And then you become victorious. You win the world. You become lucky.
No, that's nice to be more defined there. Thank you. Accurate. And yeah. So no other questions at this point.
Sure.
Anything you'd like to share?
Let us create a few more minutes of attention. And during this, we understand the big secret that we can be friends of the angel. Wisest amongst us will be those who really apply this through our next week, next month, to understand in what way I can help the angel be using the mind. And we said the first thing that happens when we use paras, that alokik dimension becomes so vivid and normal, ordinarily invisible, but for him it is so vivid. That's why he understands everyone is immortal and everyone is noble. He knows they all are loved by God, belong to God. All are lucky. They are beings of joy and love. Alokik dimension. This dimension is beyond harm. Nothing in the three worlds can harm this world or anyone. That's why they are completely carefree. When you are using paras, this is not a concept. That's the difference. They live in this. Invisible Prince, he lives in this world, knows his true family, knows his company with God, knows the worthiness, natural and normal for him. Silently knows. He's lucky, knows everyone is lucky. He also knows the story. It is constantly changing. Episodes come to an end, and story is to finish also. So he's not asking the impossible demand that story should not end. Alokik, this is an important word, and the unearthly and ordinarily invisible. But for the invisible prince, this is so vivid and normal. And physical world, it appears very gross. That's why very gross and temporary. That's why we use the word anthill for that. It appears very very unnatural for him to belong to that anthill. He sees with that separation. As we continue on our journey, we remember the beautiful options to be the friend of the angel. That option we have. Just like the Father is the friend of angels everywhere. So also the invisible prince is the friend of the angels. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, thank you. Just put the recording in the chat. It feels like a really nice place to round up. However, there are a couple of questions. I know we've come to time. Would you like to?
Yeah, we can take the questions.
So holding that beautiful atmosphere. Question here. Sometimes the kind of conflict between Ravan and ego and awareness seems not dissimilar to the Christian concept of good and evil. Is there any validity in such a view?
No, there is a huge difference, because it is not just good and evil when we are talking about Ravan and the ego. Our emphasis is clarity and ignorance. That is where there is a difference in bhakti and in knowledge. we do not say remove evil, remove ignorance, darkness. Because when the darkness is removed, automatically everything changes.
Very interesting, because otherwise this idea of inherent evil comes, but actually it's just confusion blocking from inherent good. I guess just a thought. Question here. Is Ravan like an anti-soul entity in a dark realm existing parallel to the sky or the Paris world, or is it just the ego attached to the ant world?
It is just like, if there is some darkness, shadow appears. When you bring light, shadow disappears. It is a little bit like that. There is no demon as such hanging around in the anthill, but you just bring darkness and then this shadow appears, and that creates havoc, because it has its own, as if, personality and desires and sorrows, all that happens. But it is all just as superficial, like a shadow. That's why you bring full light, it disappears.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to have this clear image. So this is the end of the questions. So anything? Maybe one. One more. The blue dotted line in the picture has an area of the drama above it. What is that zone where the prince can stay?
It is representing, the dotted line represents ignorance, darkness, confusion. So what is shown there is we come in the drama, and that is not a sin to come in the drama, but to come into ignorance is when we invite trouble to ourselves. And that is what is represented by the dotted line. It is more the sign of entering into confusion and huge thing, and definitely worth reading more about this. We have discussed this in the first Sanjeevani also.
It's a psychological line.
Yeah.
So it's we're just putting the link to the last Sanjeevani recordings if anyone would like to review. Yeah, thank you. So we will share with you the details of the next retreat when we finalized by email. Om Shanti. Thank you to everyone taking benefit of this chance to meet together. So we'll finish with a drill from Madhavan. Om Shanti.
अभी बाप दादा कौन सी ड्रिल कराने चाहते हैं? एक सेकंड में शांति की शक्ति स्वरूप बन जाओ। एकाग्र बुद्धि एकाग्र मन सारे दिन में एक सेकंड बीच बीच में निकाल अभ्यास करो। साइलेंस का संकल्प किया और स्वरूप हुआ। इसके लिए समय की आवश्यकता नहीं। एक सेकंड का अभ्यास करो। साइलेंस। At